Minister Guilbeault, I have some questions, and maybe you could correct me because I might have my information. It might be mistaken because it really doesn't make sense to me. But I have in front of me an article related to the $50 million local journalism initiative. Now, civic journalism, unquestionably a public good and a good that I would like us to support, especially as we see civic journalism struggle to provide that. We see a struggle with local journalism, but the vast majority of this local journalism initiative is distributed by News Media Canada. And Christian Dognon, who's helping to coordinate these efforts for News Media Canada, was recently quoted saying, "LJI is a support program for the news industry, so we do not want to introduce new competition into already struggling markets." And I guess what I'm struggling to understand is, why wouldn't we be encouraging innovation and new entrants to create more of this local journalism? Why would we be excluding new entrants and competition that we sorely need?
Thank you for the question. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the article you're referring to. What I can tell you is that, I mean, we have been supporting local journalism through an investment of $50 million over 5 years, which means that this year 200 journalists will be hired in communities that are not as well deserved from a media perspective as others. The ad buy campaign we just did on COVID-19 for $30 million was distributed amongst more than 900 newspapers across the country, 500 radio stations and TV stations in 12 different languages. So I think we value the diversity of the media ecosystem in Canada. And
we should especially value the diversity of new entrants into the marketplace. And I encourage you to take a second look at the management of that fund, because when I see, as one example, the Sprawl, a digital startup in Calgary, unable to access funding from that $50 million, but able to access a startup grant from Facebook. I mean, I've been the first person to be hard on Facebook, and Facebook has helped to gut the news industry in many ways, and they're trying to rectify that with some small funding. It's incredible to me that a local startup in Canada would receive funding from Facebook and not from that $50 million fund. So you really do need to take a second look. And the other piece that I'd like you to take a look at is Google, Facebook make up 90% of the online digital ad revenue. And at the same time, Google and Facebook have profited significantly from news content that they have done nothing to create. And has your office taken a serious look at France, Spain, Australia to ensure a fairer profit sharing model as between Google, Facebook, and these tech giants and our news media ecosystem?
Yes, we are looking very carefully at what France and Australia have done. As you may be aware, they've acted through their competition bureau. So we are looking at the mechanisms we have in Canada. Obviously, legislation and regulation from between different countries differs. So these type of bodies don't necessarily have the same type of powers. But we are looking at this very closely. And we've said for many months that we want the web giants to do their fair share, and clearly right now they're not. And if we can use existing tools to make that happen, we will. And if we need to create new tools, we will.
Thanks very much. They should absolutely pay into our news media ecosystem.
Thank you very much.